Welcome, everybody, to a very, very important webinar that I'm so happy to be the host of today. I'm Carolyn O'Connor, and with me today is Bobbi Foster Kelly. And this program is about you first. This is a brand new program that Redken's offering for salons and stylists, and it's really about wellness. It's about today, in this turbulent time of stress in the salon, at home, there isn't a really good program that helps us deal with our stresses and taking care of ourselves. So I'm really happy that Bobbi's taken some time to be with us. I've worked with Bobbi for over 20 years at Redken, and she's on a new journey, and I'm just very excited with her being here today. So welcome, Bobbi Foster Kelly.
Thank you, Carolyn, and thank you so much for setting up the webinar and inviting me to be part of it. I really appreciate it.
So let's talk about, is it you, is it me? Like, I love this because putting yourself first is really hard. It really is.
It's really hard because there's so many things that can come into your day and, you know, just sort of derail you no matter what your intentions are for taking care of yourself. So I'm just kind of wondering, for those of you that are listening, first of all, hello. Thank you for taking time to listen. But, you know, I'm just kind of wondering, how many of you actually have a self-care regimen that you do every single day? Just think about that for a minute. You know, what are the things that you do to take care of yourself? And then the second thing is, how many of you have an intention of having a self-care regimen? You know, you want to do it, but something bamboozles you or gets in your way, and you don't really, you know, you have the opportunity to do it. So I think that that's really what this class is. So the you is you. And I think that as you listen to what this class is all about, you'll get some great ideas and thoughts for what you can do for yourself. But also, I would encourage you to take this out to your salons and ask them to bring this program into their salons. At the end of the webinar, we'll talk about ways that you can do that. But before we get started, Carolyn, on this first slide, I wanted to just take a second. As you said, we've worked together for 20 years at Redken, and I left Redken full-time. I was 35 years with Redken. The beginning of that was part-time, and then 21 years full-time in the capacity of education and training. And I left, quote-unquote, retired in the middle of 2016. And since then, I have been on a journey. And I have a quote that I really love that says, if you know me based on who I was a year ago, you don't know me at all. My growth game is strong. So allow me to reintroduce myself. So over the last year and a half or 2 years, you're welcome. I've really been focused on understanding the notion of taking care of yourself and how important it is to refuel and to be grounded and to be strong so that you can do all the things that you want to do in life. I left the corporate world, and I really began my journey in, personal development and self-care. I've been a Reiki master for over 10 years, and that's always been sort of a side thing for me, energy training and energy therapies. So I've been able to focus a lot more on that. I started a consulting business, and I have a Reiki studio, and I have a business called Peace.Love.Balance, which is part of where this program falls under. So you'll see my logo throughout, and again, there's several arms of things that I offer through this, but for the purposes of today, it's really introducing you to this program called You First that will, although I've been doing this program in a few salons across America, it will debut at the symposium in a big way in January of 2019. So,
awesome.
That's what I've been up to, Carolyn.
Very good.
So it's interesting that
self-care, I know. Yeah, I mean, self-care, I think of, going to the dentist, taking my health care appointments, maybe an occasional massage when I'm on vacation. But I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's think about self-care a little bit more as the things, not so much going to the dentist, but the things that actually refuel and recharge your spirit, your soul, your energy. It's kind of like, Carol, when you use your cell phone or you use your computer, you have to keep it plugged in, because when the battery drains, it doesn't work anymore. It's the same thing with your body, with your spirit, your soul, yourself, your energy. You have to plug in and recharge. So self-care is about those things that you choose that make you happy, that you can plug into, that recharge your batteries and keep you recharged. Because the lower the battery goes, the harder it is to do the day-to-day things. And what you want to do ultimately is build up your reserve in your battery so that you can, last a long time. It's like when you unplug your laptop, but you still got a certain amount of charge in it. It's the same type of thing. So you can unplug from your source, which is the things that fuel you, but what you've built up in your reserve allows you to maintain and keep going. So that's really what it's like. But there is a perception that self-care is fluffy or that it's self-indulgent, that, oh, this is all just me being selfish, taking care of myself. But, you'll learn a lot through this class, but it's really completely the opposite. And the fact is that self-care industry is now a $10 billion industry. People are really learning and beginning to understand that taking care of themselves is critical. I found this interesting that that millennials, as much of a bad rap as they get about being sort of selfish or, self-indulgent, millennials spend twice as much on self-care essentials as any other generation. And I find that fascinating as well, that they really understand the things that they need to do to take care of themselves. So they spend their money and their time on workout regimens, diet plans, life coaching, therapy. And much of this is given credit to the internet, the fact that they're so connected to all of these resources. But they do a lot of self-improvement apps. They have Twitter bots. There's all sorts of apps that keep you on track with timers and, meditations, or just, hey, take a minute and do a 3-minute stretch right here, or do a breathing. So, they're really tuned in and plugged into how to take care of themselves. And, again, interestingly enough, spend twice as much on self-care essentials as those of us in other generations. Yeah, I love this little quote. Self-care is not a reward. It's part of the process. I think it's really easy to neglect ourselves when we're busy and we're feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes we feel like even just a small reprieve, it feels like a luxury. And so we choose not to. Things like taking time to eat lunch or to exercise or to hang out with friends. It feels like we're slacking if we do that. But the mindset backfires if we stay in that. So, it really actually helps, and it helps you progress faster if you spend some time on self-care. It's critical to your functioning. It helps to keep you clear and, again, makes you more productive. So, and all you have to do is establish a few basic habits. It doesn't mean your life goes from, working all the time to doing nothing. It's not that at all. And if you do, choose some habits and put those into your routine, you'll prevent overload and, burnout from, too much of work or home or whatever it is that's weighing you down. Also, self-care reduces the negative effects of stress. And we spend a lot of time talking about stress in this class and the effects of stress. And also, as we talked about, it helps you recharge and refocus, spending just a little bit of time on self-care. It's interesting, the easiest promises to break are the promises we make to ourselves. I know this is one of your favorite quotes too, Carolyn.
Yes, I promise that I'm going to do this every single day. I promise I'm going to exercise in the morning. I promise that I'm going to do many things during the day to take care of myself, and I break them every single day because the phone rings, the text bings, an email it turns into a fire drill, and so begins my day. And this is really one that speaks to me all the time.
Yeah, it's easy to break it to ourselves because we're only accountable to ourselves, very different than when we make a promise to somebody else. It feels different to break that promise. But so we're going to talk about some, ways that we can commit to taking care of ourselves and not to breaking that promise, so that we can reap the benefits of taking care of ourselves.
So you first, let's talk about it. This is the class, so you set it up perfectly. So I think everybody listening can say yes to many of the things you already talked about. So let's talk about the class.
Okay. So I think I did talk about what some of this class will talk about beating physical and emotional fatigue. So there's a lot of exercises. It's super interactive, learning a lot about yourself, but, creating quote unquote work-life balance, whatever that means to you. That's another thing I think is important is that, this is very personal. When you talk about personal development, it's very personal. And so you're really able to create your own routine and your own, techniques, your own commitment based on the things that are important to you. But ultimately finding sustainable inner peace where you don't have that, busyness going on inside that, can help to literally and physiologically interfere with the work that you're doing. And we'll learn to increase focus and productivity by just learning to spend some time taking care of ourselves. So taking care of yourself is, it's a holistic approach, mind, body, spirit. There's really 3 parts to this class. The first part is about self-awareness. So this is really where we learn the things that the practices that we now have and the things that might be interfering with our self-care. So we're going to learn a lot about what our current state is, which is just an awareness of ourselves and of our bodies and of the things that we could do to take a little bit better care of ourselves. We're going to spend quite a bit of time looking at our own personal energy, which is a lot about where we're spending energy, how we renew our energy, so that we can keep our energy balanced, which is really critical. As you know, when your energy gets low, what's our good friend Blair Singer says, when emotion is high, intelligence gets low. And so we want to try and keep our energy balanced and not low. And then the third part is really all about self-care, and that's creating your own routines based on what's important to you. So this little slide, I love this as well, because I feel like probably many of you who are listening can relate to this slide. How many do you serve? And there's you with the face going like, what? And here's everybody else who wants a little piece of you. So one of the things.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So one of the first things we do is we really take a look at all of those that we serve. And, salon professionals, it's so big of it is for everybody, but since this is really our audience, we talk about, your clients, the amount of clients, the type of clients. You have a family at home, you have communities that you serve, you have pets that you need to take care of. There's just so many people and, so many areas that you serve. So we take a look at that, and, it's kind of fun to start to make a list and get an idea of all of the ways that you're stretched in the different directions, and no wonder you don't have time for yourself when you're serving so many. We spend a lot of time talking about stress and the effects on the body. There's statistics show today that over 50% of people report high levels of stress on a day-to-day basis, and it's just increasing. There's a new area of stress that's showing up for people, which is called political stress, and it's greater than it's ever been in the history of our nation. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of stress that's affecting our bodies, and the results that it has not only mentally but physically. We'll talk about all those things, but the effects that stress has on our brain, on our nerves, on our muscles, on our heart, our joints, our stomach and intestines, our reproductive systems, all through our body, stress affects us mentally and physiologically. And I mentioned earlier the importance of minding our energy and keeping our energy balanced. So we'll talk about what that means, how to measure it, but understanding that basically we are energy systems and that we expend and renew energy not just on a daily basis, but actually momentarily, and in the realms, again, holistically, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So minding our personal energy, the most important thing you can manage is your own energy. And as I said earlier, we'll go through some techniques and some learning and understanding of how our energy gets drained, and then also things that we can do to boost our energy. And then ultimately we'll learn how to learn some techniques on how to plug the energy leaks that we have.
That sounds awesome. I'm ready. Let's start now.
Yeah, it's cool because once you realize, you go like, oh, I didn't even realize that was, depleting my battery. It's like, it's another analogy for phones, but it's also like when you open an app on your phone and you forget to shut the app, it's pulling on the energy of your battery and you don't even know it's there. The same thing happens when you have an emotional experience or a physical experience or you've got stress. Even though you might think that you shut it out because you're not focusing on it, it's still running in the background and it's still pulling energy out of your body. So the awareness of those things that are happening, really important to being able to do something about it. So
that's a great analogy. Thank you. So Bobbi, any comments on this?
Yeah, I actually love that quote too, Carolyn. Thanks for sharing it like that. I think that what's important to, also to know about this is it isn't, it doesn't mean that you have to spend, an entire day kicking back and doing nothing. But in this class, we're going to learn things that you can do in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, periodically through the day. but that little doing nothingness that can really help create the balance throughout the day. So, my hope is, just go back for 1 second, Carolyn, because there's one more there that I love that I wanted to just say. My intention for anybody taking this class is that they leave having fallen in love with taking care of themselves, mind, body, and spirit.
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is just one of the techniques that we'll learn, how to take care of yourself in like 2 minutes or less, but it's from the Heart Math Institution. I'm a certified trainer through them, and this technique is called heart-focused breathing, and it really helps to align our heart, mind, and emotions in a super quick period of time. Also helps to align our immune systems, our hormonal and nervous systems, so that we're functioning at a more balanced state. It creates a heart-brain strategic thinking, and our reaction times get better as a result of us being in coherence or in alignment like that. Super simple, easy technique that does amazing things. And then it's, knowing and understanding that, these moments of stress or, reaction, it's in flux. It's always in flux. You never reach the destiny where you go, I am a non-stressed person, or my life is completely in balance. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It's always in flux, but understanding and being able to notice the times when we are and do something about it is really what's important. So the idea is to just be aware of where you're at, notice the things that need to have, have some change or some attention, take action on those things, and then just rebalance. Super quick and easy. Here's your quote again, Carolyn. The easiest promises are the promises that we make to ourselves, and again, it's really the part of this class that I, again, hope everyone will take away is committing to themselves and just not breaking the promise. Taking care of yourself, mind, body, spirit. This is the class called You First.
All right. Well, thank you, Bobbi. One of the things that I'm reaching out is, first of all, just to become aware that we have this class available, Taking Care of You First, and it's a personal development class offering Live Best. We talk about at Redken, earn a better living, live a better life. Well, it's part of the Learn, Earn, and Live series, and now this is part of Live. How can I live best? And so this class can be done in a salon, obviously on stage, or at a retreat. If you're doing a leadership retreat, this would be a perfect class. We can also do a demo in a salon, 2 to 3 hours, or a full day workshop. So bringing Bobbi into your salon is absolutely amazing.
You know what, Carolyn, I just want to jump in. I'm sorry, Carol. Before we get into the price point, I just wanted to just go back up to this leadership retreat idea, because I've had many conversations with salon owners about this class, and they love the idea of providing something like this to their staff. It's really a sort of a reward and a different type of education than what is typically brought in. And I know for some of you who are charged with finding education and supplying education to some of our best salons who have had so much already, this class is one that they haven't had anything like, and is really a good, it's really a nice sort of thank you to their staff. So for salons who are looking for something like that, I just want to reiterate, there isn't a lot on our menu at Redken in this category, and so this could be something that can really fill a gap for salons who are looking to take care of their staff in a way that isn't about a cutting or a coloring technique. So that was my little.
And, thank you. And it doesn't have to be just Redken salons. With PPD level rewards, it's across the board for LP, Mazzani, Matrix, Redken, Purology. So there are a lot of salons that could benefit from this. And I just hope that everybody takes this and contacts Bobbi. She's on Salesforce, so you can be contracted through Salesforce. So the class, you'll find Bobbi as a customized class, Bobbi Foster Kelly, and it'll be for You First. Thanks, Bobbi, for joining. Awesome. And for everybody listening, thank you for listening. And it's been awesome.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. I really appreciate your time, and everyone else, too. I hope to see you on the road.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Are you there? Oh,